Thank you, Mr. Ngai, for your time. We all believe that China has maintained a strong economic momentum for the past decades. And here comes the question, in this world, for the current world, every single country is looking for the secret to keep that momentum or to be like China. But your latest report says that the next China is China. So what is your source of confidence?
We are very positive about the future of China. I think it comes from a few areas. I think the first one is the macro conditions in China is actually still very good, right? The story of urbanization still continues, right? We're right now around 65% urbanization. We think that there's another 15% to go, right? And that will lead to, in our view, from around 55 cities today to in the 90s in terms of cities that are more affluent, right? As people get more economic output, are more productive, earn more, consumption, confidence, and all that comes. The second one is, to be honest, innovation. If you look around the world today, undoubtedly, technology, innovation is going to be key for the future. Turning out new models, right? Having new, R&D. That pace, that dedication on innovation, I think is something that, will continue, and it's hard to beat in the world.
In China, of course, we face a lot of challenges. Can you help us prioritize what challenges do companies need to address the most and why?
I think that there are some, I would say short-term infrastructural challenges that we need to overcome, right? And I think everyone knows these, right? These will be the oversupply in some ways in the real estate sector. I think that needs to be solved. Back to macro, right? In the next 5-10 years, right? What is most important, right, to overcome? I think the first one is we got to ensure that private enterprises, right, are going to be confident to invest and to put more of the capital to work. And it's very important that our system, continue to, churn out, nurture, improve to make sure that the talent, right, is going to be here, because I think that talent needs to be globally competitive.
After 3 years of COVID responses here in China, some of the multinational companies, they reconsider their China strategy. But of course, there are many more who intended to invest more, and there are new companies who are hoping to get into the Chinese market. So what industries, companies will benefit the most from the current Chinese central government's policies? And what is their edge fighting against their Chinese or domestic competitors?
A lot of people are talking about, are multinationals exiting China? As far as I know, there's not a single large multinational that will be exiting China anytime soon. I think that what people are all trying to grasp is one thing: to have the right to be successful in the next 10 years, or what do I need to do to ensure that I remain successful in the next 10 years? And as they all come to this conclusion, one is talent. Are multinationals going to be able to attract the best talent coming to us? And the second one, I think is actually, equally important, is that how much more localization do I need to do to ensure that I can compete with the local companies out there in China? In my view, China is the most competitive market in the entire world, right? There is no close second.
Multinational companies and domestic Chinese companies, they're working together actually to build a healthy industry and also contribute to the Chinese economy. So in your perspective, how does a healthy and strong Chinese economy benefit the world?
The world needs China, right? This year, China's growth is likely to become a third or more of global GDP growth, right? The only, in my view, one number that we know will likely happen is a 5% GDP growth in China, right? Everyone is pretty certain of that. So I do think that the growth of China, the sustainable, inclusive growth here is important for the rest of the world. And I do think multinationals, local companies, they all have a role to play in there. But competition needs to happen. The market forces, right, will happen, right? But that's good. That's natural, because in there we become stronger, we become more resilient, right? And that is what we want.